Hello students, welcome back to SGC online chemistry classes. This is lecture number 7 on the topic coordination compounds. Well students, from the last videos till nomenclature of coordination compounds part has been covered, and with enough example we have practiced the writing of IUPAC names of cationic complexes, anionic complexes, neutral complexes, even double complexes. Few examples also we covered, and also writing the formulas or formulae of the coordination compound part also covered with important examples. So as per the NCERT syllabus, that too the retained syllabus for this academic year, the next part of our discussion in the topic is, which is very important, with weightage of 3 marks in the examination, and that part is bonding in coordination compounds. The next part of discussion is bonding in coordination compounds. In short, I have written. And dear students, this part has retained in the present year syllabus. Then the part which has removed is the isomerism in the coordination compounds. Though it is not there in the theory in the last class, as the retained part, after the discussion of retained part in this topic, so I am going to take one more class on the isomerism, because that part also is given in the hard copy for your reference. So let's discuss that part which has removed in the last video. But as for the retained part, the next part of discussion after the IUPAC nomenclature of the coordination compound, which is bonding in coordination compounds. CC stands for coordination compounds. Hope you remember in the first class, in the introductory class, I said the weightage of this topic is 6 marks. The weightage of the coordination compound as per the blueprint is 6 mark. So 3 mark question will appear from this heading. Keep it in the mind. Definitely 3 mark question will appear and has appeared many a times. There are 4 examples are there. 4 examples, one out of which one will appear definitely in the examination under the heading bonding in coordination compounds. Well, dear students, many theories have been given by different scientists to explain the nature of bonding, in the coordination compounds. I repeat, many theories have been given by different scientists for the purpose to explain the nature of bonding in the coordination compounds, beginning from Werner, who is said to be father of coordination chemistry, pioneer. The different theories are VBT, valence bond theory, molecular orbital theory, crystal field theory, ligand field theory, those so many. But we shall discuss, or we shall restrict our discussion to the limited theories. As per the NCERT syllabus, we shall concentrate, we shall give attention on the 2 of the theories among all. Those are VBT and CFT. VBT and CFT. So VBT, valence bond theory, CFT, crystal field splitting theory or crystal field theory. Now let's take one by one. First one is VBT. Let's take and discuss the first theory or the approach which we have to concentrate for the retained syllabus in this topic, which is valence bond theory. In short, it is called VBT, valence bond theory. So this theory consists of the following assumptions, dear students, which is also given in the printed notes with the 10 points, which gets restricted to 6. I restricted them here till 6 point, covering all the ideas. According to this theory, according to VBT or valence bond theory, the first point of discussion is one, central metal atom or ion uses N-1D NS NP or NS NP or ND orbitals for the hybridization to give equivalent number of hybrid orbitals with a definite geometry. I repeat, central metal atom or ion in a complex uses N-1D NS and NP, N-1D NS NP orbitals or NS NP and ND orbitals to undergo hybridization to give equivalent number of hybrid orbitals with a definite geometry. I am going to express here. According to this theory, central metal atom or ion uses central metal atom or ion uses what? N-1D NS NP orbitals or NS NP ND orbitals to undergo uses for central metal atom uses N-1D NS NP or NS NP ND orbitals for hybridization to give equivalent number of hybrid orbitals with definite geometry. Well, students, there are few points which one must understand under this theory, and this is a continuation part of this. The idea you have already have in the mind from your first year syllabus, chemistry idea. Now, valence bond theory, according to this theory, what the theory says, first point or first assumption, you can say as postulate, the central metal atom or ion in a complex uses that uses N-1D NS NP orbitals or NS NP ND orbitals for hybridization to give identical number of hybrid orbitals which are oriented in a definite direction. Hybrid orbitals with definite geometry. This is the first point to get in the mind. Second one, second assumptions or second postulates of VBT, which is the geometrical shape of complex ion, geometrical shape of complex ion depends on type of hybridization, depends on type of hybridization. In continuation, let's collect those points. What the second point says? The geometrical shape of the complex ion depends on the type of hybridization. So what kind of hybridization that undergoes? From your earlier ideas, you have come to know sp, sp2, sp3, sp3d2, d2 sp3. These are the type of hybridization along with example. Hope you have in the mind. See, the geometrical shape of the complex ion depends on the type of hybridization. Suppose if the hybridization, if it is a type sp3 type of hybridization, if the orbitals of the central metal atom undergoes sp3 hybridization, then the shape is going to be what? Tetrahedral. If it is a DSP2, if it is a DSP2, if the type of hybridization is a DSP2, then it is a square planar geometry that going to possess square planar. Similarly, if it is a sp3d2 or d2sp3, either of them, sp3d2 or d2sp3, the geometrical shape is going to be octahedral. So these are the ideas you have from the earlier chemistry knowledge. What the second point says? The geometrical shape of complex ion depends on the type of hybridization. So based on the type, the different geometry are going to possessed by the complex ion. Suppose such as sp3 shape is going to be geometrical geometrical structure is going to be tetrahedral. Then DSP2 square planar, sp3d2 or d2sp3 octahedral. So like that, sp3d, so which is a trigonal bipyramidal, like that. So the geometrical shape depends on that nature or type of hybridization. Coming to the next point, third point. The hybrid orbital of the central metal atom, the hybrid orbital of central metal atom, the hybrid orbital of central metal atom overlaps with the orbitals of the ligand, overlaps with the orbitals of the ligand that can donate lone pairs of electrons to form coordination bond or coordinate bond between metal and ligand. So you have continuity here. You need not to by-heart this mechanically. You should understand. Let me trace out again. Because if you go through this, then the rest part goes very easily. Come on. The first point says central metal atom or ion in a complex that uses n-1d ns np orbitals or ns np nd orbitals for hybridization to give equivalent number of hybrid orbitals with definite geometry. Second, the geometrical shape of the complex ion that depends on the type of hybridization. Here are the examples. Third point important, the hybrid orbitals of the central metal atom. The hybrid orbitals of the central metal atom, CMA stands for central metal atom. The hybrid orbital of the metal atom or central metal atom that overlaps, overlapping, you come to know SS overlapping, SP overlapping, like that. The hybrid orbital of the central metal atom or simply a metal atom overlap with the orbitals of the ligand, where the ligand can donate a lone pairs of electrons to form a coordinate bond, between metal and ligand. Between metal and ligand, same as central metal atom and ligand. This is the postulate or assumption number 3. Coming to the fourth one, as a result of this, the complexes are going to be formed, and the formed complexes are of two types. Let's see what are those two types of complexes formed by such kind of arrangement. If n-1d orbitals are used in the complex, if n-1d orbitals are used in the complex formation, then such complexes are called n-1 inner complexes. Such complexes are called inner complexes. I can write inner complexes, inner orbital complexes, such complexes are called inner orbital complexes. Inner orbital complexes or low spin complexes. Low spin complexes. Are low spin complexes. In the formation of a complex, if n-1d orbitals are used, are inward, then that complex is called inner orbital complex or low spin complex. In continuation, in the paragraph, if nd orbitals are used, then it is called outer complexes. Then it is called outer complexes. I mean outer orbital complexes. Please let me have slight correction. Outer orbital complexes, shortly outer complexes, outer orbital complexes, which are also called high spin complexes. High spin complexes. High spin complexes. So this is the point number 4. So what point number 4 says? Assumption number 4, postulate number 4 in the valence bond theory is, if n-1d orbitals are inward, then that complex is said to be inner orbital complex or low spin complex. If nd orbitals are utilized or used, then it is going to be called outer orbital complex or high spin complexes. Come on, point number 5, last but one. If complex contains one or more unpaired electrons, one or more unpaired electrons, then it is if the complex contains one or more unpaired electron, then it is paramagnetic in character, then it is paramagnetic in nature, then it is paramagnetic in nature, in behavior, paramagnetic in behavior. If no unpaired electrons in the complex, then it is, and then the complex is said to be, or then it is diamagnetic in character, diamagnetic in behavior, diamagnetic in behavior. So point number 6, let me cover up in the part left here. What is the fifth point, meaning of fifth point? As a result of overlapping of hybrid orbital of the metal atom and the orbital containing lone pair of electron by the ligand, the two types of complexes are going to be formed. One is inner complex, another outer complex, which is said in the point 4. So how you are going to get inner and inner orbital complex and outer orbital complex? Quite easy. If n-1 d orbitals are utilized, then it is going to be inner orbital complex. If nd orbitals are used in the hybridization, then it is going to be outer orbital complex. Low spin complex, high spin complexes with respect to point number 4. And point say, thus formed complex, if they contain one or more unpaired electrons, then its magnetic property is going to be paramagnetic with one or more unpaired electron. With no unpaired electron, if the complex do not contain any unpaired electron, then it is going to be diamagnetic in its character or behavior. Point 6, ligands. See, in the ligands also there are, before I write here, try to understand the 6th point. The ligands are of two types, strong ligands and weak ligands. So strong ligand like cyanido, amine, carbonyl, these ligands, etc. Cyanido, amine, carbonyl, nitro. So these ligands are covered under strong ligands. See, under the influence of these ligands, what they do? They force the unpaired electron to get paired up, which is against the Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. So that is what ligands such as cyanido, amine, carbonyl, etc. force to pair up unpaired electron, against the Hund's rule, and those are called strong ligands. Whereas ligands such as fluorido, chlorido, bromido, etc. They do not force to pair up. And those ligands are called weak ligands. This is the point which gives you the total ideas about the valence bond theory, which is one of the approach to explain the nature of bonding in the coordination compounds. Well, students, I have listed the assumptions over the board. Let glance one before we take a particular example of a complex ion. Come on, there are two theories which we supposed to collect for the present year as per the NCERT syllabus, VBT and CFT pertaining to coordination compounds. See, valence bond theory, according to this theory, what it says? Central metal atom or ion in a complex, uses N-1d, NS-NP or NS-NP-ND orbitals for hybridization to give identical number of hybrid orbitals with definite geometry. Point second, the geometrical shape or the geometry of the complex ion depends on the nature or the type of hybridization. So sp3 tetrahedral, dsp2 square planar, sp3d2 octahedral, d2sp3 octahedral, sp3d trigonal bipyramidal, like that. Third point, the hybrid orbital of the metal atom that overlaps with the orbital of the ligand, which can donate a lone pair of electron to form a coordinate bond between the metal and ligand. Point next, if N-1d orbitals are used, or if they were inward, then that complex is said to be inner orbital complex, same as low spin complex. Then if ND orbitals are utilized for the hybridization, then that resulted complex is said to be outer orbital complexes or high spin complexes. Then coming to the point fifth, thus resulted complexes are the complex ion. If they contain one or more unpaired electron, then its magnetic property is going to be paramagnetic. If no unpaired electrons in the complex formed, then it is going to possess a diamagnetic property or a character. Coming to the sixth, see, in the formation of the complex ion, there are ligands. The ligands like cyanidoamine, what they do while bonding, while they were bonding with the metal atom, they influence the lone pair of electron present in the orbital of metal atom to get paired up against the Hund's rule. You know, Hund's rule says the pairing up of electron in the PDF orbital takes place until and unless the each orbital are singly occupied. That's the statement of Hund's rule. Here, against the Hund's rule, in the complex formation, some of the ligands like cyanidoamine, carbonyl, nitro, those ligands, they influence the unpaired electron present in the orbital of the metal atom to get paired up against the Hund's rule. Those ligands which influence the unpaired electron to get paired up against the Hund's rule, those ligands are called strong ligands. While the ligands called halides like fluorido, chlorido, bromido, those ligands which do not force the unpaired electron present in the orbital of metal atom to get paired up against the Hund's rule, such ligands are said to be weak ligands. So these are the points covered under the heading valence bond theory with weightage of 3 marks in the examination. Now let's take the particular type of hybrid, a particular example of a complex ion, and let apply the application of this VBT to the complexes, to the complex ions. Well, students, now let collect the application of VBT with 4 examples. To the application of VBT with 4 complex ions, and let take the heading itself as the type of question which has normally appeared in the examination. The heading is as such. This part question has appeared in this fashion or a manner. The question is, on the basis of on the basis of VBT, on the basis of VBT, explain hybridization, geometry, and magnetic property of ion, magnetic property of particular example ion CONH3 taken 6 times, whole charge 3 plus ion. I repeat. So this is the first complex ion to which we apply the VBT, assumptions of valence bond theory, application of VBT with one first complex ion. 4 supposed to be discussed. The same type of question, the same mode of question has appeared many a times. When you check the question paper, you will come to know. The question is of this type. The appeared question over the application of VBT is of this kind. On the basis of VBT, he explained first hybridization, next geometry, and magnetic properties of complex ion, this ion. See this, what is the name of this complex ion? From the nomenclature, it's very familiar to you. So it is a cationic complex. It is a complex cation, one and the same. You have to name first the ligand in alphabetical order. It is hexamine. The metal atom should be named as such. Cobalt with no gap. Hexamine, cobalt. Oxidation state in the Roman number, that too in the bracket. What is the oxidation state? It is X plus 0. Since amine is a neutral ligand, X plus 0 equals to 3 implies X equals to 3. Oxidation number of the metal atom is 3, must be written in the Roman number. This is how the name completes. What is the name of this complex ion? Hexamine cobalt 3 ion. It should end with the word ion. Hexamine cobalt 3 ion. See, you will be asked directly with the formula or with the name. Make it very clear. The 4 examples under the application of VBT must and should. So they may appear with the name or with the formula. Name or formula. See, what is the mode of question? Explain on the basis of VBT, explain the hybridization, geometry, and magnetic properties of complex ions. First one. Well, in writing the answer, how to go with this? CONH3 6 times 3 plus. See, let me take CO in this complex. Cobalt in CONH3 taken 6 times 3 plus is in plus 3 oxidation state. Is in plus 3 oxidation state. And its outer electronic configuration is what? Argon core, argon noble gas core, It is 3d6 4s0. See, the actual cobalt with atomic number 27. Do understand? Cobalt, what is the atomic number of cobalt? 27. 27 means outer electronic configuration. 3d7. Atomic number of cobalt is 27. Then what is the outer electronic configuration? Argon core 3d7 4s2. But the same cobalt in this complex chain is in the +3 oxidation state. From 3d7 4s2, 3 electrons are removed, 2 from the 4s and 1 from the 3d. Therefore, the electronic configuration of cobalt in the +3 oxidation state is 3d6 4s0. Now, the orbitals of CO3 plus can be written as, the orbitals of CO3 plus can be written as 3d6 4s0. Let's see orbitals, box diagram. 3d6, as you have an idea that D has 5 degenerate orbital, this is 3d. 4s, 4p which is vacant, 4p. Now 3d6 4s0, no electron in the 4s. 3d6, from the Hund's rule, you know the arrangement, one in each first. Sixth one will get paired up here. See, you can see 4 unpaired electrons. 4 unpaired electrons. Come on. Under the influence of, you can see. So, these are the orbitals of cobalt 3 plus ion in the ground state. But next, what happens when a strong ligand, NH3 approaches approaches metal atom, approaches cobalt atom. When a strong ligand NH3 approaches cobalt, then electronic rearrangement takes place. Electron rearrangement takes place. So let me show with the orbital diagram or a box diagram. See, this is the arrangement of electron in the orbitals of cobalt 3 plus ion. But when a strong ligand NH3 approaches the cobalt ion, CO3 plus ion, what happens? This electronic rearrangement takes place. So what this electronic rearrangement, I tell you here, since from the theory, one of the postulates says, in the presence of strong ligand, the unpaired electrons from the orbitals of metal atom, they were forced to get pair up. Those were forced to get pair up. That means these electrons, they were shifted or they were forced to get pair up. So thus the electronic result arrangement takes place, giving you this mode of arrangement. See, as one is paired up, 4 unpaired, but due to the approach of a strong ligand, the electrons, unpaired electrons were forced to pair up against the Hund's rule, then it is called by a term called spin pairing. They get spin paired. So these were forced to pair up. So these were forced to pair up. Thus you can have two vacant 3D orbitals. These are 3D orbitals. Next 4s as such and 4p as such. Vacant 4p. This is the electronic rearrangement takes place when the strong ligand amino ligand approaches the central metal ion CO3 plus ion. Now, in this state, what happens? Two 3D orbitals, comma, one 4s orbital, two of 3D, one 4s and three 4p orbitals overlap with each other, orbitals overlap and undergo D2 sp3 hybridization, undergo D2 sp3 hybridization, forming the six D2 sp3 hybrid orbitals, forming the six D2 sp3 hybrid orbitals. One D2 sp3, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are D2 sp3 hybrid orbitals. D2 sp3 hybrid orbitals. Hope you got an idea. Let's begin with from the beginning. Question will appear like this. On the basis of VBT, explain the hybridization, geometry and magnetic property of complex ion, which is hexammine cobalt 3 ion. Cobalt in this complex ion is in the +3 oxidation state and its outer electronic configuration is argon core 3d6 4s0. And the orbital of this CO3 plus ion can be written by the box representation. So this is what the arrangement of electrons in the box representation. Here what happens when the strong ligand, that amine ligand, when it approaches the CO3 plus ion, the unpaired electrons will get forced up. The electronic rearrangement takes place, giving you two vacant 3D orbitals, one 4s and three 4p orbitals, and all these overlap with each other and undergoes D2 sp3 hybridization. Why it is D2? Two of the vacant 3D orbitals, one of the 4s, three of the 4p, D2 sp3. So undergo D2 sp3 hybridization to give 6 hybrid orbitals. These hybrid orbitals, they can make a coordinate bond with what? These 6 hybrid orbitals, they can make a coordinate bond by the overlapping with the orbitals of the ligand, amine ligand. 6 amine ligands. Thus, I can write a sentence. Thus, these hybrid orbitals overlap. These D2 hybrid orbitals makes coordinate bond with make coordinate bond with 6 amine ligands, with 6 amine ligands, where each amine ligand is donating a pair of electron to the hybrid orbital of the metal atom. Since the metal atom contains 6 hybrid orbitals, the D2sp3 hybrid orbitals, then these 6 amine ligand, each of the amine ligand is donating a pair of electron. As the definition of ligand says, ion or a molecule which is capable of donating one or more lone pair of electrons to the metal atom in a complex is called a ligand. Thus, as per the definition, see, these 6 hybrid orbital of the metal atom, they overlap and make a coordinate bond with the 6 amine ligands. 6 amine ligands. Thus, I can write the 6 amine ligands coordinate bond between the 6 amine ligand and the central metal atom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let me represent the pair of electron with colored chalk, or else I can write directly NH3 here. There is no issue if you write a electron pair with opposite spin, or you can mention the neutral molecule NH3 itself. There is no issue. So third amine ligand donating, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one. So these were directed in a space. These were directed in a space at the 6th corner of a octahedron. Octahedral, giving you octahedral geometry. Giving you octahedral geometry. Come on. Thus, this example or the application first, the application to the first complex ion on the basis of VBT gets over. This much you have to represent in the examination, which will carry 3 marks. So here, this is the outer electronic configuration. This is the orbital rearrangement. When these ligand approaches, the electronic rearrangement takes place, giving you this. The vacant orbital undergo hybridization, forming the equivalent hybrid orbital. These hybrid orbital, they make coordinate bond with the orbital of the ligand, giving you metal ligand complex, giving you metal ligand coordinate bond. Finally, what you have to mention, thus this complex, finally you have to mention what? You have to mention clearly about the geometry as per the note. Thus, finally, after representing this, you have to clearly highlight. Thus, hybridization is, what is the hybridization? Hybridization is a D2sp3. Next, what is the geometry? The geometry of the complex is octahedral. Then what about magnetic property? See, you can see magnetic property. I can write. Are there any unpaired electron are you noticing in the metal atom? So all these were paired up. Since there are no unpaired electron in the central metal atom, magnetic property, no unpaired electron means it is a diamagnetic in nature. It is diamagnetic in nature. So thus the explanation gets over. What you have to do, the same idea. Why I am repeating again and again? Because for the next example I do change only the ion. The remaining part follows the same. If it is strong ligand, spin pairing takes place. One more term I would like to highlight. If it is a strong ligand, the pairing up of electron takes place against the Hund's rule. So what is called as a spin pairing? This is called a term, spin pairing. So if one more question like what is meant by spin pairing? Under the influence of strong ligand, the unpaired electron present in the orbital of the metal atom, they were forced to get pair up. Those were forced to get pair up against the Hund's rule, and that is called spin pairing. Now because of this spin pairing, no unpaired electrons are left in the central metal atom. When there were no unpaired electron, and naturally whose magnetic property is going to be diamagnetic. Do remember the mentioning of these highlighted point after the explanation. Thus the complex ion has hybridization of this type D2sp3 and the geometry is octahedral, and the magnetic property, since there are no unpaired electron in the complex central metal atom, the complex is possessing the diamagnetic character. Thank you students. With 3 more examples we shall meet in the next video.